pretty good speech. We'll see how this goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all enjoying this wonderful celebration today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Craig. I'm Mark's younger, bigger brother. I was quite nervous about doing this speech. However, I felt a little bit better once I practiced it last week at the old folks' home. I think it went down quite well. Half of them peed themselves. And also Mark assured me that if I do a good job today, I can be best man at his next wedding too. Sorry, Paula. And I'm not saying Mark was nervous, however, I went into the bathroom after him this morning and he'd left this in the toilet. So Paula, you look absolutely stunning today, absolutely stunning. I'm speechless. Oh, yes. Seriously though, I think you'll all agree that Paula looks 1 in a million today. As opposed to Mark, he looks like he was won in a raffle. I'm only joking, Mark, you have scrubbed that quite well, but you did copy most of my outfit. So what can I tell you about Mark? Well, he's good looking, he's charming, he's clever, he's... Mark, I can't use your handwriting. I'll need to just use my own stuff from here. So some of you might already be aware that Mark is actually colourblind, and if you're just finding that out today, it probably explains some of the shocking shirts that he wears. As kids, I like to use that fact to my advantage, especially when we were playing things like snooker. Foul! Oh, sorry Mark, you've had the brown. Look for a red. Remember when Mark found out that he was colourblind? He said it came as a real bolt from the yellow. I think he meant blue. So Mark was born in 1980, and at the time the world's #1 toy was the Rubik's Cube. And Mark loved it. He thought he was great at it and could complete it really quickly. Here's one he done earlier. So Mark and I, we were quite different as kids. I was quite happy to stay in and draw cartoons and build Lego. Mark was a bit more adventurous. He was always running about outside, in and out of trees, through the woods, with his army camouflage jacket on, firing pretend machine guns. And I remember thinking to myself, when he grows up, he's either going to join the army or become a peeping Tom. Come to think of it, Mark, you never joined the army. Mark was definitely a daredevil. If he wasn't climbing up trees, he would be climbing over bridges. And then in the winter, the canal would freeze over, and Mark would be the first one to run down the ice. He would test it first, of course. You know, he's not stupid. What some of the boys would do, though, is they would find a big boulder and they would throw it off the canal bridge onto the ice. Not Mark, though. He didn't use a boulder. He used his school bag. No loss of that crash through the ice, eh, Mark? I think that sums up Mark's attitude to school. Not that Mark didn't like going to school, though. I mean, a lot of the time he actually stayed on after hours, but that was to retrieve footballs through the school roof. It is fair to say, though, you know, Mark was a slow starter at school. He was just so different from all the other 5-year-olds. He was 11. I remember one time we were at Pizza Hut and the waiter came over and said to Mark, do you want your pizza cut into 4 slices or 8 slices? Mark says, you better make it 4, I'll no manage 8. when I was looking for inspiration for this speech, I was actually lucky enough to find some of his old school report cards, and I've got a couple of them with me here today. So I'll read those out for you. So I've got one here from his PE teacher. Mark has shown some promise in football, however there are two things holding him back: his left foot and his right foot. Some comments from the head teacher as well here. So, Mark is an ideal pupil who has excelled in all subjects. Oh, sorry, I've misread that. Mark is an idle pupil who was expelled from all subjects. So like most brothers, we've had our fair share of ups and downs. We're always trying to beat each other up, always trying to get each other in trouble. And I can remember back to times where a petty argument would arise from nowhere. I would call Mark smelly, he would call me stupid, it'd get blown out of all proportion, and we'd both end up in tears. But then sure enough, the next day, Mark would send me an email from his work apologising. and we'd make up. As a brother though, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for Mark, and likewise there's nothing that Mark wouldn't do for me. In fact, most of the time we do nothing for each other. So Paula, another best man would probably stand up here and ask you not to change my brother. However, in Mark's case, there's quite a lot of room for improvement. You've made quite a good start. You got him to move out at the age of 33. I was shocked recently as well when I seen him eating a vegetable. And I believe he's also eating fancy foreign foods now, such as pasta. Growing up, Mark pretty much survived on Wee Willie Winkies and pot noodles. I can remember one time we were at my grand's and she had made us stew and potatoes. And Mark refused to eat the stew. And my mum said to Mark, "At least eat the potatoes, you like potatoes." Mark replied, "I don't like potatoes, I only like tatties." Now that's fussy. So keep up the good work, Paula. I would suggest working on his fashion sense next. There's a couple of cards here from people that couldn't make it today, so I'll read and see who these are from. Well, this first one is from all the boys at Cammondine Rovers. If you don't know Mark, plays Sunday football for Cammondine Rovers. Congratulations, Mark and Paula. All the best on your big day. We've tried Mark in every single position, but he's been useless. We hope Paula has better luck later. I'll move on to the next one, I think. Dear Paula, congratulations to you and Mark. I hope you've made the right decision. I'll never forget the time we spent together. Love from Lee Griffiths. Right, that's enough of the cats. At this point, it's customary for me to thank the bridesmaids. They completed their main job very well, which was getting Paula here on time. No mean feat, as I understand she put up quite a struggle. Well done, girls, you look gorgeous today. Thanks also to Kevin and Paul, the ushers, for a job well done and for not turning up drunk. Thankfully, Kevin promised me this morning that he wasn't going to have any more than a couple of beers, and Paul promised that he wouldn't use Listerine. You're sticking the orange juice down there, Paul. I'd also like to thank Glenskirlie for putting on this wonderful reception. Mark and Paula will be forever in your debt. And at £5 a pint, so will the rest of us. So I have to say how lucky you are, Mark, because you leave here today having gained a wife that's attractive, smart and loving. And Paula, how lucky you are, you leave here today having gained a beautiful dress. So Mark, I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Have a good few drinks. And don't worry if you get too drunk that you can't perform your duties tonight. I know someone that can step in. So it's time to wind this up. It's been a real honour to play such a big part in your special day, and I can only hope that, apart from this speech, everything else has exceeded your expectations. Paula, on behalf of my dad, it's a privilege for me to welcome you to the Preston family, and I know that my mum would be very proud to have you as a daughter-in-law. I thought we should perhaps all bear in mind is that marriage isn't about finding someone that you can live with, it's about finding someone that you can't live without, and I think Mark and Paul have done that today. So ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding. Raise your glasses. To love, to laughter, and to a happy ever after, I give you Mr. and Mrs. Preston. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, thank you.